TikTok momfluencers, you know the type, with calm newborns, rested moms, spotless homes, and perfect bodies. Don't get me started on the extra time they get to spend with hubby. They have made motherhood look effortless, dare I say easy. The problem with online motherhood is that it is always curated. Always. Whether it is the highly aesthetic, beautifully polished version of TikTok momfluencing that you see all over the place, or on the other hand, the hyper-realistic content of what having a newborn is really like. People tagging how they're struggling and how they're super tired and showing their kids throwing up all over the place. Doesn't matter what you're seeing, it's curated. This very specific version of motherhood that we're seeing on TikTok, I feel like it's quietly telling women that if you are not enjoying the process as the Cinderella mama in the most beautiful home, you're failing somehow as a mother. Or it's quietly telling women that if you don't have money, support, flexibility, and the ability to create this kind of life, don't even try. And maybe potentially the worst part about this kind of content is that it's telling women that it might be okay to blur the lines between allowing your child to have a level of privacy versus posting them publicly if it means you get a paycheck. It's almost like it's quite a natural thing nowadays for women who are planning to have kids or are pregnant and about to have a child to go online and consume information on TikTok about parenting, motherhood, what to expect, what's the best thing to buy. I get it. I understand that when you're in a new phase of your life, that is the kind of content that you start consuming, and that is why this content does so well, but it is damaging. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Meg, some of it is really helpful. Some of it is really authentic. Arguably, there are a few channels out there that are doing it in a way that keeps their children private or has a real qualified person speaking about the topics at hand. But then you get cases like this TikTok mom that treats her child like a dog and she is giving training advice. Is it like, can we call it training advice? Because it's certainly not parenting.
So if I know that my child is a runner, I'm going to have my arm ready because if she runs in front of me, I'm going to put it out. And if she runs behind me, I could put it this way. So this arm's free right now. So let's just start walking. We're going to walk. Now, if she starts to get a little too fast and runs forward, all I'm going to do is block and tell her, walk with me. Walk with me. Let's walk this way. Now, if she starts to dart out, I'm going to block. Oop, I'm blocking.
Heel, puppy, heel. Look how well trained her daughter is to perform for the camera.
And you're trying to tell me that it's not going to have any impact on these children when they've got their mom with a camera perched up in front of them and the mom is trying to interact with this camera. The mom is trying to get a reaction for this camera. What kind of behaviors is this child learning with this phone? What kind of relationship is this infant child developing with the camera, with their parents, and with themselves? It becomes like a three-way thing. What is going to happen to these children? I know I haven't really taken a stance on the aesthetic side of motherhood versus the realistic side of motherhood because in all honesty, I have a problem with both types of content because I still think it's content that is eventually going to exploit the child and eventually turns the child into a profitable product, which we're going to talk about later on. But no matter which side of the equation that you're seeing here in these MomTok influencer videos, they are curating this experience for you. And it's with an intention of being an influencer. Whether it's on the aesthetic side where they don't show you any of the difficult stuff, or if it's on the side of super realistic where the house is a mess and they're even filming themselves in the middle of a night feed, which, oh my gosh, for some reason, that content irritates me even more. You're telling me that at 2:30 in the morning, you're going to put your cell phone on with a bright flash on and record yourself nursing your infant child at 2:30 in the morning. Where are our priorities? What has this life gotten to? I understand we want to watch it, and I understand they're trying to be transparent and they're trying to show you like, listen, you're going to be up at 2:30 in the morning and this is what it's going to be like, you know? What these videos fail to actually bring across is how it feels to wake up the next morning and be so anxious and have the anxiety within your body. I mean, you're already suffering from postpartum, most likely. You're dealing with the emotions of how your body has changed. You're trying to catch up with this new identity of who you are as a mother. You're trying to figure out what your identity is within your friendship group, within your job, within your relationship. Like, you're no longer just wifey, you're now mama as well. And you're just trying to figure all of this out. And don't even get me started on the anxiety that moms feel. They have literally just birthed a baby. And most of these mothers need to now think about whether they're going to send their children to nursery school, which is terrifying, or whether they're going to literally break the bank getting an in-house nanny to look after their little baby girl or little baby boy. And they're looking at TikTok with these mamas who obviously aren't stressing about this because they're earning an income from social media and they're trying to be realistic about it. Maybe the reason it's not being pushed out is because you can't monetize anxiety. You cannot monetize being so exhausted in the morning because you've literally had broken couple of hours of sleep and you don't even know how to deal with your body right now and how it feels, but you've still got to show up. What you can monetize is bassinets and shushes. And don't worry, mamas, your babies will sleep if you get this snoozy. That is what's monetizable. And so that is what they're going to show you, even in their messy house, because I'm almost certain there's an ad somewhere there, there's an affiliate link somewhere there. And no matter what you're looking at, it's always a lot. It's always a lot of things, of stuff. And if it's not the baby that has a lot of stuff, it's the mom that's doing the morning routines. They've all got their nails manicured. How are you changing diapers with those nails? If you ever changed a diaper before, then you know having claws like that is probably not a good idea. What this kind of content also does is that it makes motherhood look like a luxury product. These videos make it seem like you have to be able to afford all the bits and bobs, all the products that are being linked, not only for baby, but for mom as well. And if you're really wanting to try and give your child the best life, you have to spend top dollar. And listen, I know that having children is expensive. We all know that, right? It's kind of the crisis that we're in right now, where women are finding that having children is just way too expensive. And it's concerning me. It's something I really want to talk about. Let me know if you guys would be interested in doing a bit of a deep dive on our population decline, because the numbers are staggering. The numbers are concerning. And it really is starting to worry me that it's not just in the most obvious ways that is eroding women's sense of wanting and feeling like they can actually afford and achieve motherhood. It is these small, micro, unknown ways that is slowly seeping into the minds of women that might be making them reconsider this choice. And this whole idea of motherhood being a luxury, motherhood needing a lot of financial support and free time and all the things, is partly why I think women are choosing not to have kids. Because how on earth, on top of having a job yourself, are you supposed to maintain this kind of lifestyle? We are slowly creeping to a point where motherhood is no longer affordable or attainable for the average Western woman, unless you are willing to sacrifice the TikTok curated version of motherhood. Because let me just tell you, this curated version of motherhood on TikTok is not aimed for the poor people in Africa. It's not aimed for the poor people in India. When you look at the populations that are still having more than 3 babies per woman, not the Western world. And these TikToks are targeted for the Western world. As women, we've been raising babies with the bare minimum since the birth of time. Women have been able to raise children with the bare minimum without needing 1,000 products tagged and advertised at us on TikTok. I don't want to be one of those people that goes back 200 years and tries to cite like who we were as an ancient civilization, because I understand we're not there anymore. There are people today who are raising their babies with only what they need. And for those women and those cultures and those sets of family life, they know that that's okay and they accept that. Is this as a white woman, is this what our culture is promoting as motherhood? TikTok, MomTok, being isolated in your house with a cell phone recording everything so you can monetize the products in your videos. Is that our cultural way of raising children nowadays? The moms themselves and this idea of self-love, again, I would like to argue the Western world of self-love, which is having their baby, God knows where or who's looking after their child, while they perform a 7-step skincare routine with products that most mamas ditched out the window. Like, their budget didn't allow for these skincare products the minute baby was born. You know, moms who have not been able to buy anything extravagant for themselves because they just can't afford it. And come at me in the comment section if you want about how important self-love is and self-care is, and that moms really need to look after themselves. I agree, but we have this idea of that, and that it should be attainable for all mamas, and people are not saying enough that this is just not the reality for most mothers. And honestly, it's making those moms who are sitting on the other side of the screen watching these women, looking at the ease and the peaceful life that they have and the luxurious items that they can afford, and it's isolating these moms. It's isolating them emotionally, it's isolating them mentally, and they're putting themselves in a category that I think is so unfair for them to be in, because these MomTok influencers are out of control with what they're posting for the sake of trying to earn some money. But honestly, I think this kind of content is slowly warping the minds of young, impressionable women and the way we view motherhood. And this content starts warping women's choices because women start internalizing thoughts of, well, if I can't afford this kind of lifestyle, I can't afford to have a child, and I shouldn't be a mom. If I'm struggling as a parent, I must be doing wrong. These are the thoughts that start perpetuating in the minds of the audience behind these momfluencers. I mean, heck, how many of you mamas who are struggling just a little bit at home, and you're sitting and you're watching this TikTok momfluencer's peaceful, beautiful, aesthetic home, and they have the funds and the ability to pamper themselves and wear comfortable clothing and go out with their friends? How many of you secretly look at your husband and resent him just a little bit, wondering, why can't you provide that kind of lifestyle for me? If only you were a little bit more successful. If only you had a little bit more money for us. If only I was able to not end my maternity leave. If only I was able to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom. Or if you are a stay-at-home mom and your husband is supporting you, maybe looking at the peace and the ease that these TikTok moms portray that they live every single day, and you are sitting in a chaotic household, still supported by your husband, but maybe not to the degree that you're seeing in these TikToks. How many times does that secretly turn into a little bit of resentment towards your husband for not providing more? And I understand, like, a lot of you might be like, no ways, like, I love my husband, and I really hope that's true. And I really hope that you might have that thought and it's fleeting, and you come back to your senses and come back to reality, and I'm sure most of you do. When you're constantly online seeing the beautiful and the peaceful side, I think that's what so many women look at, and they're like, oh my gosh, the peace that these women must be feeling. I wish I could feel a sense of that, just a tiny little bit of that peace that these women are feeling. I can understand why you might look at your life and have some regrets or question why you're not there. I think that is detrimental to a lot of women and their relationships with their husbands or with their relationship to their financial situation. I don't know if these momfluencers who are putting out this kind of content, if they are even aware or conscious of the input that they're having in how Western women are changing their minds about having children. The quiet consequence of all of this is that when what you see online becomes the benchmark for motherhood, when this becomes the standard for motherhood, fewer women feel ready to have kids. Motherhood is declining in the Western world, and women are actually choosing to have children later on in life, and honestly, it's for a myriad of reasons. MomTok influencing is not the reason for this. There are so many reasons for it, but I just like to point out the psychological impacts that watching this kind of content could be having on you as a mother, the kind of judgment you're placing on yourself, the kind of judgment you're placing on your family, on your husband, on your living conditions. And we were never meant to experience this. But when we're seeing product after product and a bombardment of what you need as a mother and this need to try and attain what these mothers have attained, motherhood is also slowly starting to become a business model. And this is where I think the most dangerous thing about this kind of content is. It is a slow shift of having your child present in the video to your child being a product that is now bringing money in and has to be in the video. It's the slippery slope that might not have started intentionally, but as soon as keeping the lights on in your house as soon as paying medical bills, as soon as buying the necessities for your family to survive, relies on content that performs well. Let's just be honest, we all know in this space, this child-fluencing, child-exploitative space, that having children online for some reason does so well. It does so well. It gets so much engagement, gets so many likes, it gets so many views, and so the money starts rolling in. And I'm almost certain for a lot of moms, their intention was never to exploit their children, but the intention was always to earn money. And unfortunately, the algorithm rewards children being present. It's so weird. It's so weird. How is it that we are trying to have digital IDs to ban teenagers from being able to use social media, but nothing is being done about allowing mothers to place newborn children on social media or parental run accounts? That shouldn't be allowed. That should not be allowed, but for some reason it is. And it's the slippery slope into child exploitation. This is where all of it begins. This erosion of what should be kept private and what should be posted publicly. And let me just tell you, these people are not clicking that little button that says made for kids. They're not putting these family vlogging contents up on YouTube for kids, okay? These channels are going up for adult viewers. Let that sink in. The people behind this content, the adults behind this content, are not stupid, okay? They're not stupid. They know what they're doing, and they can see strategically what is doing well, what is gaining more engagement. And unfortunately, when it comes to children, the more bizarre and sometimes more freaking provocative these kids are being, the more engagement and likes that they get. It is the parent who then starts curating that kind of behavior to try and get more engagement. It is a vicious cycle. Because when income depends on visibility, privacy for these kids becomes negotiable. Do we honestly have faith that these parents who are posting the most intimate moments of their child's life, and I'm still talking about newborns, okay? I'm not even talking about when they're potty training and then when they start becoming a fully fledged human and going through the human experience, which sometimes comes with its challenges, and there's mom or dad videoing the tantrums or the emotional days or the milestones that can be really challenging for like preteens. When these parents start seeing that this brings in money, do we honestly think they're going to stop at day in my life? When a mom is already willing to shove a flash camera in their newborn's face while they're throwing up, do we honestly think that that same mother is all of a sudden going to decide at 3 years old that they're not going to show them potty training? Do we then think that once they're doing the potty training videoing, do we honestly think that mom is going to respect their child's privacy when they start their period and they're not going to share that online? Especially when these conversations are driving engagement, especially when these conversations and these moments are bringing in income for the family. Do we honestly think that that parent who started off as a newborn content creator, as a new mommy vlogger, when those lines get blurred, do we honestly trust that these parents are going to all of a sudden respect their children and all of a sudden want privacy for their children? I think some of them do. But the vast majority of them that see an income and see a paycheck from it, they don't care. Because this is their job now, okay? Their survival and their family's survival now depends on this. That is the slippery slope. It didn't once depend on it, but once it starts depending on it, it's a job now, okay? And sacrifices need to be made to keep the lights on. So we're going to film baby crying. We're going to film our child potty training. And then when our child's old enough and they can start businesses, like I covered in Bev, the whole Bev thing with the LeBrons, when our child is barely old enough to start businesses, we're going to get them to start businesses. And we're going to turn it into a whole big thing because we no longer care about the experience of our children and their childhoods. We don't care about protecting their childhoods anymore. We need money now. This is our job, okay? And if we're going to be hard-working, badass bitches in 2026, our children need to work for their rent, okay? Seems like this is the attitude. Okay, but listen. Before I hear the clickety click clicks and the comment section going nuts, I'm not blaming most of these mothers. I honestly don't think that the majority of moms who put their kids online do it with the intent of exploiting their children. I got into a conversation about this with my sister and a friend of mine over the weekend, both of who have kids and are posting their children online, but neither one of them are doing it with the intent of becoming a social media influencer. The friend that I was speaking to, she privated her accounts and actually went through who's following her and deleted the people that she doesn't know or recognize, because she said, you know what, in all honesty, she does put pictures of her little girl online because she's excited about her milestone. She's excited about how cute she is, and she wants to show, you know, like the second cousin that you never really see, or the high school friend that you haven't seen for a long time. You know, you're like quite happy for your really cute, adorable child to be shown online and for you as a family to be showcased, and this is where you are in your life and you want to share that. So I'm not saying that you should never ever post your children online. I mean, I'm like a little bit saying that, but I'm not entirely saying that, because like I said, even my own sister, I love her to absolute pieces and respect everything that she does, and she puts her kids online. But let me just tell you, my sister was raised in the 80s, okay? Like, she raised in the 80s, she was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, but she literally she posts her kids as like the teenagers who were brought up in social media posts, right? She's not hashtagging anything. She's not trying to like SEO generate her posts. Let me just tell you, she's also not taking the perfect lighting and the perfect posed pictures. Like, some of the pictures of my nieces that are out online, it is literally like that candid photo that we used to have of us as kids. And my sister just snaps it. She posts it online for like the few hundred people that follow her, because it's mostly family and friends, and she's just trying to keep people up to date with her life. I think that sort of posting is okay, because at the foundation of what I'm trying to say is that there is an intention behind these posts. When it's curated, when it's performed, and when the scene is set, there is an intention behind what these women are trying to do. And men, let's just be real, let's just include the TikTok dads and the Instagram husbands in this, because they also know what they're doing. There's an intention to monetize their content. And when you've got this intention of earning money online, okay, which that is not the problem. Earning money online, I don't think is the problem. I'm doing it, for goodness sake. But when your intention to earn money online is your main focus, and you start noticing that the content that has your kids in it is seeing the most engagement, you start doing more of that, okay? We all do it. Every single content creator does it. What works well, you try replicate. It's no different to these family, children content creators, okay? And this is where the problem is. This is where I think the problem is, because it's that slippery slope of you are now part of the business. You are now the thing bringing in the money. And these kids can feel it. These kids, you can't tell me that they don't. If you have a little one at home, if you have a little toddler at home, you know your mood, the way you view the world, it is transferred onto our children. It is transferred onto our children. So when you're looking at the cell phone and you're focusing on it and you're trying to perform and you're trying to do all these things that these moms are doing with their kids around, their kid sits there and they're watching this behavior and they're learning and they're absorbing this. It is absolutely affecting the minds of these young kids. But anyways, honestly, child exploitation in 2026 does not start with abuse. It starts with monetization. And motherhood was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be supported. But when support is replaced with aesthetics and the financial pressure to achieve what we're seeing online, the only thing that grows is shame. And I'm not here for it. I'm not here for online child exploitation through the use of social media. I think that we need to do a better job at banning and censoring and regulating the parents putting their little children who cannot consent to this kind of thing. It needs to not exist. I don't understand how we're here. I don't understand how, with all the evidence and the case study after case study that we're seeing of how predatory this kind of content can become and how out of control it can become and how it affects these children, I don't understand how we're still here. But we are, and we need to talk about it. We need to be aware of these situations, especially us as women, especially women considering having children. And this conversation needs to be had because it's affecting women. And I don't know if women, when they get together, whether they speak about the negative impacts that social media has on their own perspective of who they are as a mother and how they behave as a mother and how they feel within their relationship with their husbands due to this kind of content. Do y'all have conversations like this with your friends? I mean, I know I do, but I have a very strange set of friends that are very open and very vulnerable. I mean, love it for us, but like, do most people have these open conversations? Like, do most people speak about how this is affecting them? Because I'm almost certain that it does. Anyways, if you made it all the way to this point, please do consider subscribing to this channel, leaving this video a like. I'm trying to grow this channel and I have so much to say about this topic. It's something I'm so passionate about and something that I really think we need to see real changes in society about this particular issue. And if you want to hear more from me, then yeah, like I said, please subscribe, join the community, and see you next time. Bye!